be real, I was that guy that was screaming like a little girl when the initial trailer got leaked. To the point that I had to change my pants because I straight up shit myself and splurged my man juice simultaneously. Sorry for the disturbing imagery, but good lord, this is going to be epic. Let's actually go back to Man of Steel because this is a follow-up to what I consider a horrible representation of the Man in Blue. I thought he was too reckless, Lois figured out his identity too quickly, the father built him up too much to bring him down as an adult to try and humble him out. Speaking of humble, Superman is a prick in this film. He's cocky as shit. I actually hate Superman in this film. On top of all of that, I hate how he got his suit. That made the least amount of sense to me. It's red and blue, the colors of the United States, to help make him look less frightening to the people he is saving. While it was shown on several occasions in this film that the colors of Krypton are mostly black. Guess where he gets the fucking suit? From a goddamn ship from his homeworld. What the fuck? For the record, I am a huge fan of Batman, but I do respect and love Superman for what he represents, the opposite of Batman in every way. I guess what I hated so much was as Superman, the bright light of the DC universe, became a Batman clone, dark and brooding. Now, Batman v Superman is exactly what I was hoping for, a fight with the Man of Steel and the Dark Knight. In the infamous comic by Frank Miller, Batman basically knocked Superman down a peg and put him in his place and off his mantle. Humbled him down, if you will. Let's follow up the destruction of the cocky attitude from the Man of Steel with Batman. He's even donning a similar outfit to the Frank Miller interpretation. I can only hope that this means that Batman is going to knock Superman down a peg. Of course, Wonder Woman is going to be in the film as well. Gal Gadot looks incredible, along with Ben Affleck. I think they are going to be great. I honestly do. It has been stated that the Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman might make appearances as well, but it hasn't been completely confirmed yet. I mean, we'll have to see the film first. Alright, so here we go. My first impressions on the film. Now keep in mind, I've seen Deadpool twice. First time I saw it, I loved it. I was laughing hysterically the entire time. The second time I saw it, I didn't think it was as funny. So, keeping my first impressions going here, I may not like the film later on, and I may find more faults in it, but my initial impression is that it's a very fun movie. It's very dark and intense like DC movies have been recently, which I've never really grasped onto. I understand Batman. I understand all the Batman films being dark and gloomy because that's Batman. That's his character. But having Superman do that and Man of Steel it bothered me. But to follow it up with the serious tone and the lighthearted humor of some moments in this felt more natural than I would say even comparing to Marvel films. Overall experience, I loved this film. I had a great time watching it. Ignore the critics. I despise when people say the critics say that this movie sucks. The critics are not the fucking gospel. You're looking at one person's opinion. Listen to what they have to say if you want, but don't let that dictate if you're gonna enjoy the film or not. Experience it for yourself. And keep in mind, this is an adaptation. This isn't them verbatim. This is a film adaptation of these characters. First of all, Superman. 10 times better in this film. I actually like Superman now. I love Superman in this film. He's much better. He's much more closer to the character that I can appreciate. And a big step up for Man of Steel. So much better. But the preachiness of it is pretty much gone. There are bits and pieces in it, but not enough where it was annoying like Man of Steel was. So definitely Superman turned around, and I like him a lot better now in this film. Batman. Goddamn, Ben Affleck did such a good job with Batman. And you look at, for the record, you are spoilers. I really just want to get all my thoughts out on this, so I'm gonna be revealing a lot of stuff about the film. If you don't want to know any of that, then I would suggest you don't watch this video. But if you do, here are my full entire thoughts on the characters. Batman is perfect. He's such a different version. He's flawed, he's vulnerable. They express that a lot in this film. They make him seem like he's so far out of his element. You have Superman and Wonder Woman and possibly Doomsday. Batman is out of his element, man. This is all new to him. He's been established. In this world, he's been established for about 20 years. Superman is brand new. Wonder Woman, nobody knows about. Like, everything is kind of coming to light right now, and Batman has existed for a long time and is pretty well established. So this is all new and very terrifying for him, and they portray that very well. Batman is scared. He's desperate. He's human. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how bad it's gonna get, and he's doing what he can to protect everyone against this god from the skies. And it's really cool the way they portrayed it, and even the relationship between him and Superman later on, it's very natural. It feels awesome to just the two of them combining together. It was phenomenal, and I loved the way that they worked off each other, where Batman brought Superman down a level. Like, Superman became more humble, acknowledging Batman for the man he is, for stepping up and doing what he does. And to the same aspect, Batman, the no-hold-bar guy that's like beating the shit out of people and like killing people. And yes, he kills people in this film, which is not a bad thing. That doesn't bother me. He used to use guns in the comics. Get over it. It's perfectly fine. But Batman now is starting to refrain from it looks like he's starting to pull back now. He's starting to kind of pull back his punches, like, all right, maybe I don't need to be like completely slaughtering people, but I can pull back and intimidate people without actually being a complete ass to everyone. Alfred. Jeremy Irons was awesome as Alfred. Legitimately made me laugh a lot when he was on screen. He was more of the comedic relief for Batman's serious tone. It was really cool to see him in his character, and it felt right. It felt natural, if that makes sense. Wonder Woman by Gal Gadot. Awesome. I wish they had more screen time with Wonder Woman, but I get the title of the film, Batman v Superman. It's not, Wonder Woman isn't really a main point of focus in this film, but they build her up a little bit until she finally shows up in her armor fighting, and it is epic. She is beyond perfect. Like, it is an amazing representation of Wonder Woman on the big screen, and I cannot wait for the standalone film of her. Lex Luthor by Jesse Eisenberg. I did not like this. This is the one thing about the film that I despise. I really hate this part because I felt like Lex was very portrayed more as, like, Jesse Eisenberg would do a great job as like a psychotic, crazy villain. But Lex is not psychotic or crazy to the point where he's like dancing around and being like, oh, Superman, you've fallen into my trap, but what will you do? Like, I couldn't get behind that. Lex, I thought, was very poorly represented in this. Like I said, it's a different version of him, but I didn't like Lex. Doomsday. I think this was Doomsday, because really what happens is when this creature's created, Lex looks at Superman, looks down and says, Superman, let me introduce you to your Doomsday. So that to me could mean one of two things. Either it's just kind of a head nod like, oh, Doomsday, but not really Doomsday, because I don't think he fought. The abilities he had, I'm not sure were exactly what Doomsday had. It felt different, a lot different. I guess it's Doomsday. I don't know. I mean, judge that one for what you will. Another thing that I thought was kind of silly, when they all started fighting in the city, the news almost kind of acknowledged all the death from Man of Steel, where they're like, oh yeah, and this monster is in downtown Metropolis, but most of it's been evacuated because nobody's working right now, so the casualties should be a lot smaller. That's really all you get to be like, okay, all these buildings are gonna come crumbling down, but nobody's gonna get hurt, maybe like 20 people or something. Like, okay, fuck off. Okay, like the size of the city, and for the explosions that happened, there's no way that just nobody got killed on that. Like, I don't know. I thought it was funny that they were just kind of thinking that one-liner was gonna make you think, oh well, it was evacuated, so it's all okay. Like, yeah. Another thing that I noticed, and I wasn't sure if this is exactly what happened. Keep in mind, this is still my first impression of the film. Flash actually shows up and makes an appearance. I think this was Flash. Batman is sitting there, and then Flash like does like, it looks like, I'm assuming it's Flash because you see a guy in kind of a red suit, like, appearing through what looks like a time vortex, if you will, saying, Bruce, Batman, you have to do this and that to save the world. Just don't let this happen. You were right. And just appears and Batman wakes up. I was like, okay, so I think that was the Flash because he can travel back in time. That carries over into the dream sequences for Batman. He has a lot of them, and it's kind of confusing and jarring when it happens because there's no real transition. It just happens. Like, all of a sudden, he's in the nightmare sequence when he's going to fight Batman goes to fight Superman. And it's just like kind of okay, and then he wakes up and he's like, oh, it was just a dream. And then the Flash jumps back in time and he wakes up like, oh god, it was just a dream. Or, I don't know, it was very bizarre the way that it was kind of laid out in that way. I think he woke up twice from like a dream, a nightmare, wakes up to another one, and then wakes up to real life. I was like, God damn, Inception, what the fuck? So the dream sequences were kind of weird, a little off-putting, and a little kind of, I don't know, they just kind of didn't flow as well as you would think they would. Like, it just felt like a bait and switch. Like, oh wow, is this really happening? Oh, nope, it's in his head. Just forget it. It reminds me a lot of when I was a kid and I would play with my brother and we'd play like, use our imaginations. Like, oh, this happens and that happened. And then I'm going and then I realize, wait, hold on, I don't want to go this way. Oh, you woke up from a dream! And then I start all over again. Like, I don't know, it felt very bizarre. Another thing is Lex figures out all of their identities rather quickly, which I'm okay with because, yeah, I mean, it's really, when you think about it, it couldn't be that hard to find out their identities if you have the money, if you have the time and the patience. You could find out who these guys are rather quickly. Lois figured it out in the first film with no money, like, kind of just like, was like, oh, I pieced it all together and here you are. So of course Lex is going to be able to figure out who Superman is. That I didn't mind. I'm sure some people were like, wow, he shouldn't have figured it out. It's a secret identity. Now everything's spoiled and ruined. I'm like, no, it's whatever. I'm not worried about it. Seeing the early stages of the Justice League, because that's kind of where he carries over, because Lex has a blueprint, or not a blueprint, he has files on all these heroes that are being hidden or whatever, or metahumans. Like, you see an image of the Flash, you see some footage of Aquaman, you see footage of Cyborg being created, you see a picture of Wonder Woman from like 100 years ago. So that was kind of interesting, and it looks like that's gonna be the building of, I'm sorry, I totally forgot. The Flash, when he jumped back in time, he told Batman, you need to find us. You need to find everyone. And that's when Batman, like, looks at the picture, and the videos, and, like, finds out, like, holy crap. Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, like, I guess I have to find all these guys. Which leads to the end of the film, where him and Wonder Woman are like, we're gonna need to find them. I have a feeling that we're gonna need to fight. So it really does build up the Justice League coming around. And also, since this is Doomsday, if you will, Superman does die. Like the comics, he dies from Doomsday. But if you remember the comics at all, Superman didn't stay dead. Like, he just presumed dead and then, comes back later. And they did a good job of representing that in this film because all the characters did such a great job of really portraying that Superman is dead. Yeah, as audience viewers, we're like, oh, of course Superman's not dead. He'll come back eventually, one way or another, whether the film tells you or not. But as actors and actresses, they really, really did a good job with making it look like Superman was really dead. To them, he is dead, and it came across really powerful and really moving. I loved it. It was such a good job. And speaking of the comics, there was a lot of similarities and parallels to Frank Miller's comic, The Dark Knight Rises. I think that's right. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Where, like, there's a part where Superman gets blown up by a nuclear explosion and you see him just like kind of crumbling apart in space, but then the sun comes around and he rejuvenates him and then he comes back. That felt a lot like a scene from that comic. Batman is wearing the iconic armor from the visual novel as well. It was really good. Like, I liked a lot of the similarities with it. And the last thing that I have to say about this film, as far as particulars go, is why? How does Superman keep talking to his dead parents? Like, in this one, he's suddenly talking to his dead adopted father, having a conversation with him, like, but he's not really there, he's just imagining he's there, and I'm like, what? Is this always gonna be like Superman's, like, go-to is, like, his deceased father is gonna motivate him to do the right thing? Like, that just, I don't know, that felt a little repetitive for me. Overall, the film was great. It was a lot of fun. I really want to go back to see it again and see if it still holds as true as it did my first time watching it. I encourage you all to ignore the critics. They're not the gospel. They're not going to tell you exactly how the film should feel to you. You check it out. See it for yourself. See if you enjoy it and form an opinion of your own. Honestly, this movie's awesome, and for me personally, I recommend it. Go check it out and let me know in the comments below what you thought of the film itself. You know what? It was good. It was good. I really enjoyed this film. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.